So hello everyone, and welcome to the sales funnel class. Now at the end of this class, I will share how you can get our sales funnel worksheet for free, which is why you see that on the screen now. But before we do that, let's go through the class. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I know some of you do, I'm Hannah Martin. I am the founder of Talented Ladies Club. I am also an award-winning advertising copywriter, and I've worked at some of the world's top ad agencies in Hong Kong and London and worked with some of the world's top clients, biggest brands. I am also a qualified psychotherapist and hypnotherapist, obviously the founder of Talented Ladies Club. We have over 100,000 monthly visitors around the world. We've created dozens of successful courses. I've created social media training for Google. I am a business mentor for NatWest. I am a member of 2 all-party parliamentary groups in the House of Commons, and I am a mother of 2. That should be at the top, not the bottom. That's my biggest accomplishment, but that's who I am. Now, this class is all about a sales funnel, and I'm going to talk you through how a sales funnel is structured and what you need to have in each. But I thought it was quite interesting to share this. This is some research we did a few years ago, just before lockdown, and we asked everyone a series of questions about business. And one of the things we asked was, do you have a sales funnel? And I have to say, I was really surprised at the results. This is what they showed. So 57% of the people who responded didn't know what a sales funnel was. 39% do a bit of sales, but only 3% actively had a working sales funnel. Now, it's so important that you have a sales funnel working in your business, because if you're not actively selling all the time, then you're not going to bring in money. You're not going to bring in sales. You might get sales through luck or through ad hoc stuff, but you need to have a system that continually brings people into your business and that nurtures them. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. It's not just finding people and selling to them, but it's nurturing them. So with that in mind, let's get into the sales funnel. There are 3 main parts of a sales funnel. There is your top of the funnel, and this is where people find out that you exist. The middle of the funnel, now this is where people will spend most of the time, and this is the part that most people miss out as well or don't get right. This is where people learn more about you and decide whether or not to buy from you. And we'll talk a bit more about why this is so important going forward. And then you've got your bottom of the funnel, and this is where people buy from you. Now, most people tend to work on the top and the bottom of the funnel, and they either miss out the middle, they rush people through it, or they just don't have enough there. Because as you'll discover, a lot of people will take a lot of time to buy from you, and they need to be nurtured before they're ready to purchase. So the middle of the funnel is really important. You need all parts of your funnel, but a lot of businesses are very good at trying to do the top of the funnel and trying to do the bottom, and they're not working out, can't understand why they're not converting. And it's usually because they've not got the middle right. So let's look at your sales funnel, and let's look at each section and what you might have in that section. So let's start with the top of the funnel. Now, here are some things that you might have top of your funnel. So you might have organic social media posts. You'll have social media engagement. That's not just where you post, where you actually talk to people and engage on social media. You might have a pop-up with a lead magnet on your website. So that is when someone comes to your site and there's a pop-up like there is on ours, and it might kind of say, it used to be, do you want to join our mailing list? These days, it's quite hard to get someone on the mailing list without some kind of enticement. If you've got like an e-commerce business, it might be 10% off your first order or something like that. Or it could be like we often do, take our quiz or get our free guide to something. And that's a lead magnet. You might be a guest expert on a webinar that someone else is hosting. You might write guest blogs. That's a really great top of the funnel activity. And you might do paid social media. So you might do social media ads with a lead magnet, for example, to try and get people onto your list. Free challenges, you've probably seen these 5-day challenges. They're a really popular way of getting people onto your list and having people kind of experience something about you. But there's a great list building top of the funnel activity. Now, all these things are designed that if someone hasn't encountered you before, this is how they might find you. And PR coverage is another thing as well, like someone might see you in the media. Now, the aim of all those things generally is obviously to get in front of people, but actually you can't build a relationship with people if they only see you once and then they go off. because how are they going to remember you? How are you going to talk to them again? And in marketing, we generally say that people need about 7 touch points. They need to come across you in 7 different places or 7 different times in order to make a decision to purchase from you. So you need to build a relationship with them. Now, if you notice in the previous slide, talk about having a lead magnet and getting them onto your list. Now, that is a really good way to continue a relationship, because when someone's on your mailing list, you can send them emails, you can talk to them, you have some element of control over whether that relationship continues. The next best thing is to get them to follow you on social media, because then they're seeing your posts. You are less in control on social media, because obviously all social media platforms have their own algorithms. They decide what they're going to serve. And if Facebook closed down tomorrow and you had just built your kind of your audience on Facebook, then you're stuffed, basically. So the idea is you really do want them on your list, but the second best is them to follow you, because when you have a relationship with them and they are seeing you again and again, you can do building this nurturing thing we're going to talk about here. You can build a relationship. So here's some of the things that you might do in the middle of the funnel. So this is where someone has found out about you and they're getting to know you before they're ready to buy. So you might have a sales page. So for example, this is a page where you'll have information that helps someone make a decision to purchase. You might have an welcome email sequence. And this is, if you don't have one of these, I really do recommend it. If you've got email marketing software like MailChimp or MailerLite or Drip, as we use, when someone joins your list, send them a sequence of emails that helps them get to know you. It's a great way to take someone from maybe like a cold prospect. They've literally just found you, they know nothing about you. Then you can send them a few emails that just kind of tell them like how you can help them, the kind of things you do, the kind of results you've got, what you're actually selling. It's a good way to cement that relationship initially. Then once they're on your list, I highly recommend regular communication. Now, when I say regular, it doesn't have to be weekly. We send out a weekly newsletter that we share, most of the weeks we just send like 3 articles, top 3 articles of the week, and maybe a link to a freebie. And then once a month, I'll do a longer newsletter where I might be sharing some more information. It doesn't have to be weekly. It can be fortnightly. It can be every 3 weeks, every month, every 6 months. What matters is regularity. So whatever frequency you decide on, be consistent, because consistency is really important in business. If you're sporadic, people can't expect newsletter, they can't anticipate it. But they worry that if you're sporadic in some areas of your business, if you don't commit to the things you're saying you're going to do, maybe you're not committed in other areas of your business. So they're not going to trust you in their relationship with you. If you are saying you're going to do something in business, if you say, I'm going to send a weekly newsletter, and then you send it for 3 weeks and then don't send it for 2 months, then they might be wondering, well, if you don't follow through on that, maybe you don't follow through on your service delivery. Maybe your products aren't as great as you think they are because you say they are, because you haven't followed through on development. So consistency is really important. So there's no hard or fast rule about how often you send newsletters, but be realistic in how frequently you can communicate with people, how much you have to share with them. You do have to have interesting information to share, and how often they might want to hear from you as well. They don't necessarily want a weekly, newsletter for everyone. Let's say you're a solicitor and you've got a solicitor's firm, and you might want to send quarterly law updates to people, but you're not necessarily going to send a weekly, a newsletter for a solicitor, because if you're a general customer, you don't want to hear from a solicitor every week. So think about how often you can realistically send a newsletter, how often people might want to hear from you, how often you're going to have interesting things to share. Social media posts, lives, and engagement. Now, obviously, this appears at the top of funnel. It's a great way to find people, but it's also a great way to nurture your relationship. So people can help to get to know you better by seeing your posts, seeing your lives, your reels, seeing you talk to people on social media. It's a good way to build a relationship. Testimonials and reviews. Now, we're talking about the sales funnel here. You've got a separate thing, which is the marketing journey. And the marketing journey generally has about 5 or 6 stages, but they mirror the sales funnel. So you've got sales funnel, top, middle, bottom. And then in marketing, you've got sort of awareness. They find out about you, interest, evaluation, trial, purchase, loyalty. Evaluation it's a very important part of the decision someone's going to make, and it's in the middle of the funnel. The middle of the funnel is kind of the middle chunk of the marketing journey. So As part of the middle funnel, your sales funnel, or people make a decision to buy from you, they need to decide whether that you actually can do what you say. They need social proof, it's sometimes called, but they need evidence that what you are promising actually works. Now, this can come in the form of testimonials and reviews. So these are a really important thing to start gathering, because it allows people to see that people like them have got the result that they want with you, which gives them more confidence in making a decision to buy from you. So there's a really good middle of the funnel activity. And there are certain pages on your website that are also important for middle of the funnel. So things like your About Me page. If you don't have one, definitely recommend it. If you've got one, go back and make sure there's enough on there. Does it really tell people, you know, why you're passionate about this, what your mission perhaps is, why you're doing this? Why you're the right person? What were your qualifications, your experience? What kind of results are you getting? So your About Me page can be a really important part of the decision making. And often, we find that this is the second most viewed page on a website. And if you think about when you go to a website, how often will you go and look at About Me? And this is something that I do. If I'm on an e-commerce site, for example, and it's a business I don't know and I haven't visited before, I will always look at their About Me page, because that will tell me, is this a sort of a mission-led entrepreneur in a real business, or is this sort of like a sort of shell company that's sort of being created just to sell stuff and there's no real person behind it? And if if I'm buying from an independent retailer, their About Me page helps me personally feel more confident that I'm buying from a real person who maybe cares about the products they're developing and developing them because they've got a passion for what they do. So your About Me page can be really, really important. FAQs, another really brilliant tool to your middle of the funnel. And in fact, actually, I was talking to someone in one of my calls this morning with people I work with about this for her business. FAQs are... there's always questions we're going to have before we purchase, and we need those answered. Then there's obvious ones like, how much does it cost? What does it do? How can I buy it? But there's also things what we call objections to purchase. So there might be doubts that you have that you might need to be reassured about before you can buy. And it might be, you know, I can get this for free. Like, why should I buy from you? Or I don't really have much time. Am I going to have time to do this? Or, you know, you say the results, you know, take 3 weeks. How is that possible? Because it seems really short to me. So if you think about your business and think about all the reasons why someone might not buy from you, and then turn that into an FAQ. Never be afraid of being public with what, you know, with an objection to purchase. Don't be afraid that if you talk about it, you're going to put that idea in someone's mind. You won't. If that idea is there, it's going to be there. What you will do is you will demonstrate confidence in what you do, because you are unafraid to talk about the things that maybe are people's worries. And it shows that you actually really believe in what you do. Because if you were genuinely, you know, trying to kind of fob someone off, you would just avoid this stuff because you don't really want to talk about it. The fact that you can talk about it means that you are unafraid of it and that actually you have got a genuine response for it. So FAQs, really great opportunity to get the questions people normally will ask, like how much it costs, how do I get it, but also the objections to purchase and answer those. And your FAQs can be used in so many different places. So they can be, you can have an FAQ page on your site. You can take individual FAQs and write blogs about them. You can use them on social media. You can send out an FAQ email, which is what I've recommended someone do today. They're a really great way of helping people to learn more about what it is that you do, get their questions answered, and feel confident about purchasing. And guides to your products or services. This is really great as well. Video guides, written guides, share demos on social media. Let people see your products being used, see behind the scenes. One of the things that I try to do, like if I'm selling like a course, it's quite hard for people to visualize what a course is going to be like. So I'll generally try and do a behind the scenes video to show you what's inside my course or what's inside this product. So you can visualize what it looks like, what you get, and whether you think that's something that's going to work for you or not. So guides to your products and services are really good middle of the funnel activity. So bottom of the funnel. what do you do here? So this is now in the journey. You think about someone has discovered you existed, which is top of the funnel. They've, over time, you've nurtured them. Now, just to come back slightly to the middle of the funnel, and I talk at the beginning of this class about time. Now, to some extent, we can never control how long it's going to take someone to make a purchase from us. I've had people join courses and they've been on my list maybe 3 years before they've bought something from me. Now, it might have been that it's taken them 3 years to have a need for what it is that I've sold. They've just been curious about it. It might take them 3 years to actually kind of think, oh, I've seen Hannah for 3 years and I, I quite like what she does. And now I'm ready to buy. But it could also take 3 years for them to be in a pinch point, because sometimes we consider a problem for quite a long time, and then something could happen where we can no longer sit with that problem and we have to solve it. So you never know how long someone's going to be in your middle of the funnel, which is why it's so important to make sure that the stuff we just talked about, the regular newsletters, blogs on your site, regular social media content, that you are doing that all the time. You have to nurture people, because if you get people coming into your middle of the funnel, okay, so they've clicked on your freebie, they've downloaded it, they're in your mailing list, maybe you sent a welcome email sequence, but then you haven't emailed them after that. You've had no regular newsletters, you haven't engaged on social media with them. They're going to forget you quite quickly, but their problem hasn't been solved. And if you are not talking to them and they're not remembering you, then you risk them by paying for someone else to solve the problem. So they'll still want to solve that problem, but you won't be the person they think about. So your middle of the funnel is really important, because you've got to nurture them until they're ready to buy, or their pain point becomes such that they have to buy now. And at that point, we move down to the bottom of the funnel. Now, this is where you ask for the sale. This is where that you're actually going to try and initiate a transaction with people when they're ready. So for this, you'll have sales email. So you might be sending out an email that is encouraging someone to buy, letting them know what you're selling, reminding them what you're selling, and giving them incentive to buy now. It can be retargeted social media ads. So you might be running ads on social media or other places that are retargeting people who are on your list or have visited a particular page. So those people are warm prospects, that they're in your funnel. And you want to just maybe kind of, if the time's right for them, prompt them to purchase. Time-limited promotions, a really good way. One of the things we talk about in marketing is scarcity. If we feel like there are endless options to purchase and we can wait forever to buy, there's no incentive to act now. And one of the things about human beings you have to understand is that making a decision is not something that we like to do. As humans, none of us do. Making a decision potentially leads us to the point where we might make the wrong decision. So we would rather sit on a decision and do nothing, even if we're in a position of discomfort in that time. We've got a problem that needs solving, but almost the pain of that problem is less than the pain of having to make a decision on what to do about it, and then maybe making the wrong decision. So human beings don't like deciding. So part of your marketing job is to make it more desirable to make a decision than it is to stay with their pain. Because ultimately, if you get your marketing right, your business will solve someone's problem. You found the right people, you've let them know how you help. So by this point, the people in your funnel should all be the right people. They're people that you can genuinely help, who need your solution. And so therefore, your job at the bottom of your funnel is to make it as easy as possible for them to buy. And sometimes that means by forcing them, like forcing is a strong word, but putting them in a position whereby they can't put off the decision. And sometimes that could be by scarcity. So scarcity is literally, this product is only available for this time, or here's an offer that is only available now, like Black Friday, for example, classic example of this. There's a sale price that is only available here, or there's only a number of, there's only 10 of these available. It's used in marketing all the time for that reason. The reason is that it encourages people to move through the pain decision-making and to make the purchase. So time-limited promotions are a really good way of doing that. Tripwire purchases. Now, I don't know if you've come across this thing, but word called tripwire. This is often used in marketing. It is easier if someone's bought from you once, it is easy to get them to make another purchase than it is to get someone to go from not being your paid customer to being your paid customer. Even if it's 10p, the hardest thing you can get someone to do is to actually give you money. And I don't know if you've, and I've certainly, this applies to me. Like sometimes I'll see something, an amazing, ridiculously cheap offer. This is available for 99p only, and it's ridiculously cheap. But I'll think like really hard about, do I really want to spend 99p on that? You know, I really want to get my credit card out and have to make a new, you know, it doesn't, if it's a new purchase, they don't remember my credit card. I've got to input everything from the scratch again. So sometimes it doesn't really matter what it is. It's really hard to get someone to actually make an initial purchase with you, to trust you that you are going to deliver what you say. Now, which is why you will see us and people like us we might have courses that are, I have courses that are like kind of £3,000 plus. I've got courses at like £500, £200, but I'll have items that are much, much cheaper. Now, these are what we call tripwire products, tripwire purchases. These are purchases that help someone move from, I have never bought from you before, to I have a buying relationship with you. And oh, actually, that was an okay relationship. You know, I gave you money, you gave me something back. It was appropriate for what I paid. I like, you know, it was a smooth delivery. The quality that you delivered was what I expected. I'm happy to buy from you again. Because if you think about it, if we're that uncomfortable about even spending like 99p in my case, or £10 or £20, we're not going to go straight from I've never bought for you before to I'm going to spend £4,000 with you, or I'm going to even spend £100 with you maybe. So tripwire purchases are a really good bottom of the funnel thing, because if you've got someone who's never bought from you before, you need to ease them in. You need to give them a way of experimenting, if you like, with being your customer without risking too much, without having to be go for your biggest course or your biggest product. So tripwire products are really good bottom of the funnel activity. But the same token, if you are offering a service, free discovery calls or chemistry calls, sometimes called, a really great way, because again, particularly if you are, I know kind of coaches do this a lot. A lot of people will do this if you're working one-on-one with someone. You want to make sure that, do I like working with you? Do I think that you have good value? A discovery call is a good way of getting someone to go, or it's a no risk for them. They're literally going to have they're not going to pay money, and they're going to have a phone call with you, and they can make a decision based on that phone call. So it's a really good, if you're offering something significant, it's a really good bottom funnel thing to have someone on a free call, because they can you can answer their questions, you can reassure them, they get to kind of ask all the tricky questions they want to, all the objections to purchase, and they can decide after that whether they want to do that to work with you. So that's a really good bottom of the funnel activity. Abandoned cart emails. If you have an e-commerce business and you're not doing abandoned cart, you're potentially missing out. So abandoned cart, basically, if someone has got partway through the process to buy from you and they didn't complete the purchase, which happens to, I've seen statistics like up to 75% of people will abandon a cart at some point. And if you don't currently have stuff to help those people complete their purchase, then you're missing out on valuable sales. Really, that only applies to sort of e-commerce particularly, with that kind of stuff. It does also apply actually this is the kind of the version of this, but this is something I do when I work with people who have service-based offerings, like freelancers or kind of, like fashion stylists. I've done this with. Maybe you've had a discovery call or just an email conversation with someone who seemed like they were the right person, the right fit for you. They seemed keen to buy. For whatever reason, they didn't buy from you. They might have bought from someone else. They might have thought they might wanted to wait. Follow up with those people. It's really good to do this, to just get back in touch with them. And you can even ask, or is it, okay if I check up with you in future? Like, thanks. I appreciate that, now's not the right time. I'm maybe not the right person for you right now. Do you mind if I get back in touch in the future? And then you can send them a light touch email going, we spoke a month ago or 6 months ago, and, how's it going with that thing that you were working on or you were struggling with? Just to let you know, if you did want to chat further, I'm still here. It's a really nice email. It doesn't feel too salesy, but this is, you never know who maybe tried something else, didn't work, or it wasn't right for them then, and they feel shy about coming back to you perhaps because they didn't buy with you before, or they've forgotten about you. So that's a really good long-term bottom of the funnel activity. And if you are a service-based business, I recommend setting a system up around this, so that if you do have some kind of communication with someone for a significant purchase and they don't buy, that you have a kind of reminder of your calendar, check in with them at a certain point, because it is a great way to bring in it, and it often works. Often there's a percentage of people who will come back to you. And then obviously seasonal campaigns and offers, brilliant excuse to come out. You know, if your products are relevant to kind of Valentine's Day, do like promotions, do campaigns around then. It's a great opportunity to kind of remind people, you know, obviously Christmas is a brilliant thing for lots of people, but yeah, seasonal campaigns and offers, great bottom of the funnel activity. So now I'm going to show you that's what's in the funnel. Now, when I work with people, what I recommend is you build the funnel from the bottom up. And the reason for this is, imagine that you go out and you do all of this wonderful top of the funnel stuff. You're a guest expert on high profile webinars, on podcasts even. You know, you're doing Facebook ads to kind of your freebie, your mailing list is growing. But then you've got nothing to sell to them, or you've got no newsletters coming out. You literally, someone's come onto your list, and then that's it. That's this kind of that kind of dust ball things that you see in the desert, tumbleweed. It's like they never hear from you again. Then all of the effort you've made off the funnel is wasted. And then people are like, oh, you know, sign up to her list, and then nothing happened. So they unsubscribe, or they just forget you and move away. So always build from the bottom up. So make sure that when you turn on the rest of your funnel, you've got places to send them. So think about the bottom of the funnel. What's your end purchase? For example, if it's buy a course, and think about what normally happens before someone buys from you. There's going to be an email exchange. There might be a webinar. So that's, you know, your bottom of the funnel. Really think about what needs to be in your bottom of the funnel. Then move up to your middle and think about, okay, for me personally, you might think, what's the stuff I can do? Website, well, I need to have an about page, service page, a sales page. I'm going to write FAQs. I'm going to share them on a web page. I'm going to write emails, blogs, and social posts. Existing customers, I'm going to get them to review me. I'm going to write case studies about working with people. I'm going to have testimonials. I'm going to have photos of working with people, all the things I've made for people. I'm going to screenshot social posts if they rave about me, all stuff to do with your existing customers. My emails, what am I going to do for emails? Right, I'm going to write fortnightly newsletters. I'm going to have a welcome sales email sequence. I'm going to send out regular sales emails. I'm going to commit to having a sales email go out once a fortnight. So I'm regularly putting a sales message out to people on my list, and those that are getting ready to buy, then they know how to purchase. They know what I'm selling, they know how to purchase. You might decide to work on your PR coverage and then social media engagements and posts as well. So do something like this, and then so you know what's in your middle of the funnel, because then for each of these, you can write task lists. So then you go, right, okay, obviously you can't do this all in one day. There's a lot of work here and a lot of it's ongoing work, but you can go, right, okay, my calendar this week, I'm going to focus on getting my about page done. And then I'm going to work on my welcome email sequence. Next week, I'm going to do my service page. And then I'm going to plan my newsletters. I'm going to plan a couple of months of newsletters, like topics I'm going to write about. So set yourself realistic task lists based on this. But this is like your kind of brain dump for, these are all the things I ultimately want in the middle of the funnel that will help nurture people. So once they're in my funnel, I'm having regular communication with them. Then this is what your top of the funnel might look like. Now, these are all the things that might feed into your funnel. So you're writing blogs on your site, as you can see here. And as you can see, quite a few things lead into the freebie, because a freebie is a really good way of getting someone who's found out about you, getting them onto your list. So you might write guest blogs for sites like Talent Ladies Club. We publish guest blogs and get interviews with people. And it's a great way to get in front of our audience and to get a link to a freebie in potentially in your article at the bottom, and then get people on your list from there. It's been worked really well for people in the past. Social media, ads, interviews with you, challenges, networking. Think about your top of the funnel, all the ways that you can go out into the world and find someone who's never heard about you before. And then, but the reason why there's lines on here, because it's not just about, oh, someone's read about me in a guest blog somewhere, or someone's heard a podcast interviewing in. How are you going to get them from that podcast onto your list or onto your social media following, so that you can then build your relationship further? So the top of the funnel's job isn't just to get in front of people, it's to make sure that you are finding a way to bring them into your middle of the funnel so you can build your relationship. Now, I apologize for this because it is lunchtime and if you're feeling a bit hungry, this has probably tipped you over the edge. But I want to just talk about freebies. And one of the things that people often get wrong is not knowing quite how much to do in put into a freebie. So I thought that I would share this story with you, which is the analogy I always use for this. So this is how to get a freebie right. Now, imagine that you want to buy a beautiful chocolate cake like this for somebody. Maybe for yourself, you're going to take it home and have afternoon tea. And you go into a baker's and they have got this beautiful looking cake in their counter. And the baker says it's the best chocolate cake in the world. And you're like, okay, that sounds good. However, is it moist? Is it like really rich? I don't, it's quite a lot of money to spend on the cake. How do I know it's the best chocolate cake in the world? And the baker says, well, let me cut you a slice. And you can see they cut you a slice, very generous slice. You're eating it going, you're right. This is the best chocolate cake I have ever tasted. However, thanks for the slice, I'm now full and I feel slightly sick because I've eaten quite a big slice. I do agree you have the best chocolate cake in the world, and maybe I'll come back next time I'm hungry. But right now, I don't need to buy your chocolate cake because I can't eat any more chocolate. Okay, so therefore, in that circumstance, your freebie has not worked because you've given them too much that they no longer need to buy your actual product. They've got enough to digest it. In this case, physically in terms of the person chocolate cake, but it might be another, if you've got a worksheet, they've got too much to digest in terms of they can go away and spend ages doing this. They're not going to make a purchase. So imagine instead you go into that baker's and he says, this is the best chocolate cake in the world. And you say, how do I know this? And then he says, he's got a little plate with cocktail sticks and a tiny morsel on there. And you take that morsel and you try it, that is delicious. I agree. That is the moistest, richest chocolate cake I ever had. And I now want more. And now I want to buy your cake because I've had enough that has shown me that you're a great baker, that has whetted my appetite for more. And the only way I can sate that is to buy your cake. Now, when you're doing freebies, I really want you to think about that. And I have been guilty of this in the past as well, of giving too much in my freebie, wanting to demonstrate real value and actually help people. But there's a balance between giving them too much so they don't need to come back to you, and giving them just enough that they can see, oh yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Yeah, I like the delivery of stuff. And I would really like more of that. So when you're doing freebies, you're top of the funnel, think about the chocolate cake. Don't give people a slice, give them a crumb. So when you finish, ta-da, this is what your sales funnel worksheet will look like. Yours obviously will look different to this, but could be roughly fairly similar, depending on what it is you sell. And before I'm going to share with you, because I can give you for free that worksheet so you can go and work on it. I just want to leave you with this thought. This is, if you've ever worked with me, you might have heard me say this because it's a drum I bang over and over again. And I touched on it briefly at the start of this class. If you don't do sales, you won't get sales. It is simple as that. There is no magic wand that will help people miraculously go, hold on a minute, I'm psychically sensing that Hannah Martin is out there and she's running a course and I must go and find out about it. I think that she's running a course right now. Like, that doesn't happen. You have to be selling. You have to get comfortable with it. And I'm not particularly comfortable with selling. Selling doesn't come naturally to me. How I've managed to reframe it for myself, and this is how I help other people as well, is that I mentioned earlier, your business solves problems. My business solves problems. We wouldn't exist if we didn't. Every business in the world is there because someone's got a problem they want to solve, and they'll pay money to solve it. It's worth them investing money to solve that problem. A fashion shop sells clothes that will keep us warm and protect us from the elements and make us look good. It's solving those problems for us. So you are solving people's problems. Your sales, all your sales and marketing does is it finds people who have the problem they want to solve, lets them know how you solve them, and tells them how to buy. That is all your sales has to do. You're not hard selling. You're literally just helping find people who need what it is that you do and letting them know how you help. You must be doing this daily. You must have sales activity going out every single day in your business, because otherwise you won't be bringing in sales. And if you are listening to this and wondering why you don't have many sales, why you haven't got enough coming in, which is a common thing that people worry about, I want you to think about how often you do sales and whether you are selling regularly, whether you have sales messages going out weekly, if not daily. And if you don't, I hope it reassures you there's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with your offering, your business, or maybe even your pricing. What might be wrong is simply the fact you're not selling. And if you do get more sales, you will get sales. If you do more sales, you should get sales. So I hope that you find that reassuring and a call to action for you. So there you go. So I'm going to put this link into chat in a sec when I answer your questions. But I have got, as you can see on screen, talentedladiesclub.com/sales-funnel-worksheet. If you click on that link, you can get, I've put like a free tiny mini course on our learning platform. So I've got the completed example of the worksheet you saw on screen there of the sales funnel, a blank version for you to print out and fill in, or you can fill in online. It's an editable PDF, and an ebook of this class. So basically everything I've talked about in this class, I've put into an ebook for you, so that if you're you walk away and like, what did she say was top of the funnel? And how does that work? Like it's in an ebook to refresh. So even if you're looking about it in a month's time and you want to kind of come back to your sales funnel, it's all there. If you sign up on that, you will have access to that. So I'm going to answer your questions now. I'm going to stop sharing the screen to that, but I will put that link into chat for you so that my face is really big on my screen, which was a bit of a shock. So please do, if you have any questions, I am really happy to answer them for you. I know there's a lot of information I just shared. I can see a couple of questions there. I will answer them in a sec, but yeah, if you have any questions, do put them into chat. And just to let you know as well, so you can get that straight away and you can start working on your worksheet. I do have I've got a few things coming up. I've got a really special offer that's going to come out tomorrow for you, which you won't want to miss. That is, I mean, it is a Tripwire product, but it's a really good discount and a one-off discount on something that will really help you take this massive step further, that would just basically make this whole thing I've shared really easy for you. But I will send it out tomorrow, so watch out in your inbox tomorrow for a really good offer for that. I've also got a free challenge coming up, I think in the beginning of November. I think it's just after half term. Yeah, literally after half term. Well, I'm going to, this relates to your top of the funnel. I'm going to show you how to build your mailing list in 5 days. I'm going to share this great strategy I've got. So if you are looking to build your top of the funnel, you would definitely want to attend that free challenge. And I've also, last thing, after that, I'm going to start doing fortnightly lunch and learns. So I hope you found this really helpful. This is my favorite thing to do. I love teaching, and these classes, and I can see now the time, I've gone over by 10 minutes. I was really passionate about giving you as much information as possible. I apologize for going slightly over, but I really love teaching, and I don't do enough, or I haven't done enough of it recently, only inside my courses. And I don't want to only make stuff available if you pay me money. I do want to share my knowledge with other people as well. So I'm going to be doing, thanks Jackie, lunch and learns like this, where midday, every fortnight, I'm going to talk about different topics, share stuff for you. I will make the recordings available. So even if you can't, because I know a lot of our readers aren't even in the UK, and this isn't a great time for some of you, so that the recordings will be available, because I want you to have access to really good information that's going to help you. Thank you, Anita. I'm glad my enthusiasm comes across. I am passionate about it. And I've been running business for 15 years. I've learned so much, made so many mistakes, and part of what I'm really good at is taking the things I've learned and sharing them with you, so you don't have to make the same mistake. So I am glad that that is helpful to you. Oh, thank you, Cherry. Thank you, Jenny. That's brilliant. I'm glad you will find this really helpful. Emma asked a really good question about, do I recommend free Tripwire products or just low cost? So there's lots of kind of marketing terms. So you've got a lead magnet, which is a free thing. So a lead magnet is like a carrot that gets someone on your list. It's something you give away for free, that in return for someone giving your email address. It's an exchange. You give me your email address, so you're on my list, and I will give you this free thing. Tripwire should always be a paid product, because the point of it is to take someone from a non-customer to a customer. So if it's free, it's a leads magnet, but Tripwire should always be a paid product. And it can be, and it really, how much a tripwire costs depends on the value of what it is you offer, because it should be an appropriate price. But it also depends on ultimately what it is that you're going to sell. So if you sell really cheap things, let's say you have a product thing where you sell £10 products, for example, well, a £10 tripwire is no good. So you might then have like a 99p tripwire thing if you're selling really cheap products. But if you've got really expensive products, there's nothing you probably do for 99p. So you might want to have a lower price entry level, but higher than 99p. It also depends on, I've seen like, and I know with things like memberships, like, you know, 99p for 7 days, for example, or whatever, is a really great way, or free for 7 days, to get people into a membership, for example, and then they do that. And also, I mean, I signed up to something today, which was, you know, free for 14 days, then you pay, but you give your credit card details to get the free 14 days. And then it automatically, unless you kind of remember to cancel it, will then start charging you. So there are different ways into that, but a tripwire should always be a paid purchase, because you are getting them to give you money. I hope that's helpful. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I'm glad that's helpful. And thank you, Michelle. I'm glad it was clear. Emma says, do you think the lead magnet should be amazing? Yes, lead magnet, not too amazing. It should be great, but not too amazing, because people, they are at that point, they don't want something huge from you. I've over the years, I've developed dozens, if not over 100 different, probably not over 100, but dozens certainly, of different lead magnets. And the best in terms of the most work I put into a lead magnet was my worst one. And basically, there's a brilliant book by Robert Cialdini called Influence or Persuade, Influence the Art of Persuasion, or Persuasion the Art of Influence. Really good book. And I read that book, loved it. And then I summarized this entire book into a workbook. I had chapters, like just basically like, you didn't need to buy and read the book. You could just read this workbook and you could get everything, the key messages from it, and exercises you can go and do. I had it designed, like it was like this amazingly beautiful thing. And it bombed as a lead magnet. And it is a really good book, Carolina, isn't it? And one of the reasons why it bombed is that, if you think about it, and it's another analogy for you. Do you remember when you go to the supermarket and then at the till, while you're queuing up with all your stuffs on the kind of conveyor belt, there would be chocolate bars and stuff on the counter to tempt you. And then you'd be sitting there thinking, oh God, it's really boring, I'm a bit hungry, I'll just put like a Snickers bar on the kind of the conveyor belt, okay? That's what your freebie should be. It should be that someone's going, oh yeah, like that looks like a kind of, you know, a no-brainer, a bit of a quick win. And a freebie should be quick to consume, like that chocolate bar. You should give them a quick hit. It doesn't last, because actually you don't want to give someone something so amazing that it's going to take them 6 months to do. You give them a brilliant workbook, they're going to take 6 months to work through. Why would they come back and buy from you? Because they've got that whole workbook to go through. It's human nature. You know, I'm not going to buy from you till I've done that workbook. Another danger of giving someone something too complex for a lead magnet, is that you're not there to guide them through it. So let's say you give them a lead magnet that teaches them something about what it is that you do. Maybe it's exercises, and you give them a series of exercises to go and do, but they don't do them properly. Because it's a lead magnet, it's a lead magnet product, you haven't put much information in it. You've said, oh, do 3 crunches and 4 burpees, for example. Well, they don't do the burpees right. They strain their back thinking, God, like she's not very good. Her advice is crap. And then they don't do it properly, and then they don't lose weight or get any fitter. So they'll be like, oh, you know, Hannah's stuff's rubbish, don't do it. That's a danger in giving them slightly too much, because you're not there to guide them through it. It might not work and it might put them off. So it should be literally things that work really well. Think about, what could you put on one sheet, one side of A4? Checklists work well, quick tips work well, stuff like that, but nothing that gives them too much to go away and do, because that's the slice of cake. So it should be that crumb of cake. Does that help explain it? Do let me know if not. Just checking. Okay, nothing in the Q&A. That's good. Helps massively. Brilliant. Does anyone else have any questions? Happy if you kind of want to even say, this is my idea for a lead magnet or tripwire. It sounded really good. Happy to answer that for you. Just looking up, no more. Thanks, Tracy. I'm glad that's really helpful. And I'm glad that you like the idea of the challenge and the lunch and learns, because like I say, this is the stuff I really love to do most. Like sitting behind a laptop on my own, boring, sharing knowledge with you, fun. So I'm glad that you have had it helpful and enjoyed it. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ruth. If there's no more questions, I will go. Oh, there's one here, off topic. One-to-one mentoring. Yes, I do. If you, I'm going to put my email address in here. Ladies Club. I do work with people. It's kind of like on an inquiry basis, like if you like one-off thing. I generally try and find out what it is that you really need help with, to see if I can actually help with that, regarding one-to-one and what, you know, because I want to make sure that I always offer value. I don't want to ever take money off someone and then not get value from it. So so I put my email address in there. Emma was asking about one-to-one. Thanks, Cherry. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Pippa. Carolina says brainstorming, tweaking lead magnet ideas as part of the challenge would be great. Okay, thank you for the idea. Brainstorming lead magnet ideas in the challenge. I was thinking there's a couple of things I'm going to do in the challenge. One is how to find guest blogging opportunities. I've got like a really great strategy for that. And the second thing, what I was thinking about that, so you've helped, it made me decide about whether you need help planning, or because a great lead magnet makes or breaks your outreach. If you have a rubbish lead magnet, you can pay for all the ads in the world and you won't get email addresses. So thank you, Karina. I will definitely put that into the challenge. So thank you, everyone. I will let you go. Thanks, Emma. I'm glad that was a good session for you. And I will send the recording out. So remember, do get the free worksheet and ebook, because like you don't have to watch this class again if you don't want to. It's all in the ebook. You've got the worksheet. And then when the challenge, I can actually tell you the date. Hold on, because we've put that in here. Timeline. So the challenge will be the week of the 7th of November. That's when the challenge is. Like, I hate school holidays. It just kind of like ruin my calendar when I'm planning stuff like, oh, I can't do it in half term. So it's going to be the week of the 7th of November. No, I don't like Facebook, and I don't like Facebook groups. So it's not going to be on Facebook. But it will be something everyone can access. Don't worry, me neither. I think a lot of people are really over Facebook by now. So 7th of November, I will be sending out loads of kind of reminders about it. Yeah, I think lots of people are feeling the hate for Facebook. I use Thinkific, and we have brilliant communities on there, which I haven't started using yet, but they have all of the functionality of Facebook groups, but not on Facebook. So you haven't got ads on there. And what I find personally, I get so many notifications on there that when I've run things on there and people like I've run Facebook groups for courses, I don't see people kind of go, oh, Hannah, can you help with this? And I sometimes don't see it because there's so much that's rubbish on Facebook. So it will be run via the course learning platform Thinkific, but everyone can access it. So you know, it's not you have to have special software. And it will be really good, and I will share lots of good stuff there. But that'll be the 7th of November, that will start, and everything will be recorded so you don't have to attend it live. And yeah, thank you, everyone. I've loved this, and it's so great to have interaction with you. Right? Well, like I say, like I just put out articles or I do stuff, but it's nothing is the same as actually talking, even though you're on chat and I'm talking at you. Thanks, Lindsay. And so yeah, do get the free stuff. And then if you want to take it further, I've got a really good offer coming up tomorrow. Don't miss that. But then don't forget the free challenge that's coming out in November. And see you on the Lunch and Learns and the challenge, hopefully. Thank you so much for your time today. And I hope that you find it helpful, and go and do sales. All of you, go and do sales.